Hi, folks. Job Lot Comics here. We're going back in time, looking at old series of action comics. Here we are with issue 500 and what number's that? 96. Good Lord, we're nearly at 600. We're all changed. This is when John Byrne was doing writing and art, and he was teaming Superman up, just like DC Comics Presents. Remember DC Comics Presents? And we've got the Spectre here. So Superman and the Spectre teaming up. Here's all these people going into that void like Insidious. And this was a Millennium crossover. Do you remember Millennium? No, of course you don't. Nobody did. It was rotten. I like the artwork. I think it was Joe Staton, and it was the Manhunters, and it was a big DC crossover. It came off the back of the success of things like Crisis on Infinite Earths. It didn't really work though, yeah, which was a shame. But here we go. Superman and the Spectre. Hell is where the heart is. So you've got all this going on in Smallville. And you've got the credits box up here. There we go. Story and pencils by John Byrne. And John and Keith were doing the lettering and the colouring, yeah. So Byrne was pretty much doing everything, pretty much like he did on Fantastic Four. And I'll tell you this, there was some great issues of Action Comics when Byrne was under it. And he just embraced the whole DC universe. He did some great single issues and great two-parters, and I love his Superman. I think John Byrne's Superman is probably one of my favourites. He just seemed to capture the size and the style of Superman at the time, and I really liked that. And then, of course, when he was working on this title, you got to see John Byrne doing all this kind of stuff, like with other characters that you would never probably see John Byrne working on a run of the Spectre, but then you see him in the pages of these comics here, and it's terrific. And he did an awful lot of team-ups on this book. I can't remember them all offhand, but I do remember the controversial one where him and Big Barda were going to make some pornographic film. Mr. Miracle was outraged. It was so strange. So here we've got a great technique that Byrne was doing, where he's in this kind of voice thing with the manhunters and stuff, and everything's in black and white. Oh my gosh! So it was really just pencils and a quick ink job over the top of this. And think of the time he saved when he was doing all the work on this title, and then he got to do this kind of thing, which would probably save him a wee while. They do all this black and white stuff, and then when the Manhunter thing is revealed, yeah, we break back into colour. Look, isn't that amazing? Look at the detail in there. Good Lord, that's George Perez. Levels of detail. It's just terrific, isn't it? The Manhunter. Oh my gosh. And then there we go. Oh, that's a nice training shoe. And we're back here. Colouring kind of fell away there in that panel, didn't it? So there we go. And then you get the wrap up of the episode. I always felt sorry for the creators when they were doing crossovers. Oh, look at the Spectre just taking a little moment to have a bit of fun with the trick-or-treaters, and then we're back into the main action here again. Isn't that great? Lots of exposition, blah, 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 blah. And then you get the box here that tells you that the story continues in Millennium issue number 5, yeah, with a tale that carries Superman to the Justice League number 10, then back to Millennium issue number 6, then on to Superman number 14, and then back in time for Action Comics number 597, yeah? I mean, good Lord. It was a lot to take on, wasn't it? But anyway, yeah, I like these Byrne issues of Action Comics, and I think his Superman is pretty much one of the definitive renditions. And I also like seeing Byrne doing these kind of other characters, like the Spectre. Has the Spectre got the worst costume in comic book history? I mean, look at his little booties. Good Lord, Spectre. Get yourself a better tailor. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Hello to all of you out there that are taking the time to watch this. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.